What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Bianconero Zone for another match reaction. After we got, embarrassed at home, swept by Monza and Serie A, 2 games, 2 L's. First time since the 30s. Back then it was Inter that Juve, got swept by a newly promoted team or like a new team in Serie A. That's all you need to know. Now, before I get into it, for the people who think this channel is negative, don't watch. Just don't bother to watch. Just click it away now. Don't bother to comment because it's gonna be negative or it's gonna be just real, how I like to call it. And don't live in fantasy life. For the other peoples, like the video, subscribe to the channel as always, and hit that bell notification. Now, yeah, we got embarrassed. It's as simple as that. Like, we got outplayed completely. We got out-coached, out-muscled, out-passion, because we were talking about that, passion, a big word. And it makes me smile, or like it makes me cringe when we use that word passion for a big club as us. That we need to grasp to, or if we need to go, we need passion. It's a different way to say we're horrible and we have no idea what's left, so just resort to passion, and you're just praying something will happen. But it's the old time, like lower than that you cannot fall. It is what it is. Now, before I get into players and all those things, and something very worrying post game, obviously need to talk about Allegri, because we play we play a different formation, whatever, different players every single week. We don't have a lineup. We don't. Like, we get rotated so much, it's impossible to create anything with this team. So that's the first thing. This team looks very disjointed. They look like, again, have no ideas. Like, there was a period in the first half we were just panicking in front of our own box and just kicking away and hitting our own people. Fagioli hitting Bremer, I think, and just scrambling to kick the ball away. It was embarrassing. Like, it was at home against Monza, by the way. We have actually no idea. It's like these players don't know what to do with each other. De Sciglio and the Di Maria link up was a horror show. Like, there was no chemistry. On De Sciglio, we thought he wasn't alive at this point anymore, and out of nowhere, there he is in the starting lineup. Like, how? I don't even know how that's possible. Like, how is that even possible? He's a terrible player, by the way, but how is that possible that out of nowhere, being out for months and months for a simple injury, he's there? Like, this favoritism, and that's very shocking, in my opinion. Like, it's very shocking, it's very worrying, and it's very wrong, because he's not Chiesa, that type of player. Like, he's freaking De Sciglio. He's terrible. Like, that's not a player you should be hanging your head on. That's that, But again, different formation, different ways of playing. Like, Paredes and Rabiot got overrun because they were horrible. And I'm being nicely when tracking back. Like, playing Rovella and Pessina were having a field day. Like, Pessina couldn't just pick up the ball from his own box and walk it to our box. Rovella could just pinpoint passes between the midfield because Paredes and Rabiot were clueless, in non-possession based football. Like, they were absolutely clueless. Like, there was disjointed, far apart. It was a walk in the park for them, and there was no changes, like absolutely no changes. And it kept happening. When 1-0 down, I was like, okay, he's going to change now because we were all over the place. And he's like, no, 1-0 down, it got disallowed. The 1-0 got new 1-0 down. It stands. Like, okay, now he's going to change it. Nope. Same thing happens. Second goal, same thing. Like, it's absolutely shocking. The decisions he's making are absolutely embarrassing. And I will go in some of his quotes later, because he said some things where I'm like, what are you even talking about? What are you even saying at this point? But yeah, he doesn't make any changes. So when it was 2-0 down, I was like, this game is completely over. Like, it's done. Like, there's no comeback. Like, you can feel it. There's absolutely no comeback. There's nothing in this team. They're absolutely clueless. It takes forever to get that ball up to pitch. Like, we play it 20 times sideways if needed. Monza had 3-4 touches and they were in front of our box in the first half. Even towards the end of the second half, they kept it very simple, as you should, and we had no idea. And the big, like the biggest blame is on Allegri because, again, I don't rate these players, but they're not this terrible. You know, they're still terrible in my opinion, a lot of them, but not this bad. He doesn't change anything. Like it's unbelievable when you look at it. You know, when you look at it, you're like, this cannot be happening. Kostic was getting cooked. Like he was getting cooked. Defensively, he's not good. He was getting absolutely cooked. The first goal is because was getting cooked, and it happened 2 or 3 times after that. We just got lucky a little bit because there was some sort of cover, but it was terrible. And he doesn't switch it up when you see it's going terribly wrong. You know, it's going completely sideways. Absolutely embarrassing. You know, there's nothing else to say. He got completely outcoached, like completely, in every single way, shape, or form. They were close. They were just technically poor in the Coppa Italia game, and Chiesa did his thing. You know, that was it. That's why we won the game. Today, the technical mistakes they made on Wednesday, on that Wednesday, was it Thursday? Tuesday, they erased, they moved it away, they brushed it aside, they came back, and they did their thing. They kept Di Maria out of the game. Allegri asked Di Maria to drop in. At that point, his game was over because that's not what you need to do. You need to ask for Di Maria, like coming back from so deep. He was bypassing the Chilio. Why would he not do that? Because the Chilio is terrible in building up play or linking up play. It was just overall a bad performance from Allegri from start to finish. And I will go on to him in a little bit when I go into comments, but we'll go into some of the players now. And again, I'm not saying like they're not picking themselves, but when we were on that 8 winning game streak run, whatever, not conceding goals, I keep coming on and saying it's gonna fall apart. It still doesn't look good. We are fluking our wins, late minute winners. We got a few times very lucky. There were 2 good games, Lazio and Inter. All the other games were just, and one, I don't know, we won 3-0. But it's like, oh, we got to win, but how? How did we even manage to do that? Cremonese away, last minute winner. Who was it else? At home, Udinese. Like, it was terrible football. Like, absolutely horrendous football. And I was not brushing it aside, you know? And it wasn't being negative. Again, it's just what you see. Like, it's still out there. Like, win or not, you can still come out after the win and say, this is not so good, you know? This is not what it needs to be. Like, you can still do that after a win. Like, there's nothing wrong with coming on and saying, you know what? We won, but it's still not what it is. It makes me absolutely angry. And again, nothing against the person or the player, like the person in per se, but it makes me angry, like really angry at this point, that a player like Danilo, again, nothing against a person, gets put out there by the club as a leader, and we really need him. Like, he's that guy, and it gets eaten up by fans. Like, it pisses me off because he's not good. Like, he's not a good player. Like, that's not the level. And again, not him, but he's being put out there by the club as, he's the main guy. He's the leader. We need him. A leader needs to be good, quality-wise. He's not good. He makes so many mistakes, and for some reason, he gets away with it. And I have no idea why. I have absolutely no idea why. Because he speaks the right words, quote-unquote, but those are not the right words at this moment in time, you know? You have the club after the game posting a huddle picture saying unity. They have absolutely no shame. Like, there's no shame within this club. Absolutely no shame. They're not reading the room. They are not feeling what the fans are feeling. It's an absolutely shambles, you know? Again, he was poor. And in that game 8 winning streak, again, I was saying that backline is not good. We are defending with 10 men behind the ball. That's why we're not conceding goals. But technically, individually, talent-wise, that backline is absolutely average at best, you know? Danilo shouldn't be a starter at this club if you want to compete. Gatti, absolutely not. Like, he's terrible with his feet, like absolutely terrible. And his positioning, it's getting worse. I thought it would be improving. It's getting worse. Like, that second goal, I have no idea what he was trying to do. But he set up Bremer and Chesney to failure because he was making it so easy for the player to play that ball in between the lines. It was shocking. So he's getting worse, in my opinion. And then you have De Chilio, like he just offers absolutely nothing, you know? And that's why I kept saying 1.5 million, for a backup. He's terrible. Even as a backup, they're terrible players. Like, you're wasting money. You have people saying, Alexandro can do a job in a 3-5-2. Why not keep him a year? Because he's shit. He's on 6.5 million, and he has been shit for years. Like the standards are dropping so fast, and shockingly, and it's a worry that people are accepting it, you know? I've seen great leaders at this club, but they also brought great quality on the pitch. We don't have that now. It's not even close. Again, the person Danilo, no problem. But what the club is making of him, I do have a problem. I do have an issue. Because it's a small thing in a very bigger picture, you know? All these small issues are adding up now, and this is what we're getting. We are getting mediocrity at the finest level, you know? It's unbelievable. He was terrible. Paredes was terrible. Rabiot, I had a discussion on the live saying, nope. And people saying, but you need to replace him. Good. He's not a 7 million player, let alone how he's playing now. Now he's playing terrible, by the way. But how he was playing pre-World Cup, those performances, weren't even 7 million euros. So yes, you need to replace him. But okay, what's the issue? Are you rather going to waste money? Is that what you want? Because you don't want to replace him? And yes, it's going to be a crazy rebuild, you know, squad-wise. But it is what it is. You don't need to make it a longer rebuild or a very hard rebuild because you're investing so much money in players who are just average or not good enough or very inconsistent. That's all I was saying all the time. And again, that's my opinion. It's my opinion. It's my belief, by the way. You don't need to agree with it, but don't come under the comments and say you're wrong. Then I can say you're wrong because you have a different opinion. It's not being wrong. I see the things that way, and I will not accept mediocrity. Like, I won't. I will understand the moment, but I'm not gonna. That's not a reason to praise average players because we are in a bad moment. No, I will say what it is, and I hope these players leave very soon. That's how it is. Because it was terrible, by the way. Keane was terrible again. Kostic, horrendous. Awful. Now, do I think these players are this bad? No. I still want a lot of them gone because I still think they're not good enough. But they're playing without a complete system. Like, they're playing completely clueless. It's just go out there, show some passion, wait for that one moment. They stuck on Di Maria, and that moment is gone because there's no Chiesa, there's nothing, and you're absolutely screwed. We're just crossing the ball. In the second half, we were crossing those balls in, hoping something would happen. And if Bremer didn't had a brain fart, it would probably be 1-2. But what else? He was terrible as well, by the way. Like, Bremer is a good player, but we are making him look terrible. That's just a fact. I will go in some quotes from Allegri, and then I have something else to say. That's a big worry for me. He was wilding, and he was saying very worrying things for the future, in my opinion, after the game. I just picked up a few things because he said a lot, and I don't want to make it even worse for everyone. But he said, if you have to lose games, you have to lose them in a different way. In the second half, there was a completely different attitude. In the second half, went a bit better because of some offensive changes. Now, that's too layered for me. He knows, like, he is admitting that you can still play an offensive type of football with different players. But he's just saying, nope, I'm not going to do it. I'm just chucking him in when all things seem lost. That's, in my opinion, very disrespectful towards the fans because you know you can flip it a little bit, but you're just very stubborn in your ways and are saying no. And saying basically, no, I'm not doing that. That's the first part. The second part, the game didn't change because strategy or tactics. It changed because you brought in more quality. You brought in Sule, who can beat this man, who has good feet. You brought in Ealing Jr., who will push down that field, down that wing. He will push no matter what. He will bring that energy. That's why the game changed a little bit. That's the only reason. It's individual quality, not because there's now great link up and all those things. All danger coming in the second half was mainly because of Sule beating his man or just being very persistent with what he was trying to do, even when he lost that ball, putting pressure. That was just purely based on solo individual talent, not about, now we're going to play a few triangles, 1-2s in front of the box, and cut them wide open. That never happened today, not once. The chances were all scrambles from corners or set pieces or crosses, and it's been for a very long time, by the way. Or it needs to be that Chiesa picks up the ball, looks down and makes his run and scores. That's all that is happening now. So the changes, he has put in more quality, but again, it's all the players doing their own thing, trying to make it work for themselves. Not I put Sule in, that means player X can drop in. He can make that run. Like there's no patterns of play, like nothing. It was a moment. We were 2-0 down with 20 minutes to play, and we were just bopping the ball around in our front in front Chesney. Like it was still 0-0 with 80 minutes to go. I'm like, oh boy, this is really bad. Just not on the pitch, but looking into what are these players thinking. It's bad. It's bad. But that's not the worst thing he said. The worst thing will come after this slide. But he also said at the back we were quite slow. Above all, we didn't even have the strength to react after the goal canceled out for them. You have to think only about the pitch. Excuse me, that was a typo. Whoever is not able at the moment, who cannot, he's basically saying the players who at this moment in time are thinking about different things than the pitch, they will stay out. And I was like, oh my God, you are picking these players. You're saying players are too slow and all those things, and they didn't react. You picked these players. You didn't react. The players are not going to change formation or set up mid-game. It's you. The midfield got bypassed completely. And you're saying, oh, but after a goal, I thought they were picking up. It's you. You need to make the difference. It actually has to be you at this moment in time, because the players are clueless out there. It's clear. It's obvious to see. Then he goes on saying the players who are not thinking about it now will stay out. Again, you. I was already shocked that he made 3 subs at halftime. No idea why he took out Fagioli for Locatelli, because Locatelli was, again, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And again, players, I will keep saying it before people attack me, they're probably not this bad as they're showing now, Allegri is a big part of that. But Locatelli has not been playing well. I cannot recall good games from him. If you ask me, name me a few good games since he joined, I cannot do that. I actually can't, And it's very worrying at this point. It's very worrying because he came on today and I thought he was terrible. I thought he was absolutely terrible again. But whatever. But again, it's you. You are the coach. You need to see that. In training, he's ready, he's not ready, whatever. If you're not going to base it on patterns of play and, memorizing things and actually having a style of play, then it's you to need to able to see, okay, these players, they're not ready. They cannot do this. Because it was clear Paredes doesn't give a shit. He was strolling back a few times. I'm like, oh my God. It's 20 minutes in and you're already strolling. What is the point now? He's making reckless tackles for no reason. I'm like, this is not going well. It's not going to go ending well. Again, after the game, he also said we need to put the blame on all of us. I'm like, okay, but mainly on you. I don't know what to tell you anymore. But that's not the worst thing he said. This is the very worrying thing, in my opinion. He said, I've always told the lads that we have 38 points, but the league table says 23. So after today's game, it's normal that we have to work on the league table, which at the moment is a real one. We have to get to the points that leads us to salvation. This is a reality, otherwise we will get hurt. Now, first of all, you never want to hear that from your coach, ever. That's already shocking, in my opinion. But I said, pre-Atalanta, I'm like, this is weak. The communication is weak. Post-Atalanta, I was like, okay. He's talking about the points they have. And the Salernitana points, I was like, okay. I'm feeling it, They feel strong about their case. Now, completely flip. It's even worse than pre-Atalanta. It's surrendering, in my opinion. It feels like, and this is a big worry in my opinion, it feels like they already know which direction this is going, not on the field, but off the field. That's the vibes I'm getting. Now, tomorrow is Monday. Tomorrow we will know why we got 15 points. And I think tomorrow will be very clear if we are absolutely screwed in terms of we're not going to get those 15 points back, which I believe, or where we will know about, okay, this is absolutely bullshit. We'll probably get those 15 points back. Tomorrow we will know. But again, pre-Atalanta, post-Atalanta, and now this is the worst thing. I'm very worried about what's coming Monday and in the coming months, weeks, because this feels like surrendering. This feels like this is an absolutely shit show, and we actually need to start winning more games to actually stay in the league. If they're not just going to say, okay, because of the wages, it's Serie B already, or like 40 points deduction. But this feels like a very, very bad situation, because he's talking about relegation when you're 9 points above. When Sampdoria, let me check. I think Sampdoria, they're sitting at the last place, no? The last drop-off place, and they have 9 points, right? Or did that change? Let me quickly check. Because again, it's 8 points. Let me see. Okay, so Verona are 12 points. Verona are on 12 points. That's still 11 points more. And even if they win their game in hand, which is against Udinese, I don't know. Even if they win, let's say they have 15 points, you're still 8 points ahead. That's a big worry. Because is he really thinking about relegation? Or, again, my fear, do they know, or he knows, picks up the vibe, or has been told that it's not looking good off the field and you're actually going to need to scramble. Now, we will know tomorrow on Monday. I'm not having a good feeling, because this is a very, very worrying statement in my opinion, because it completely changed compared to post-Atalanta, where I was like, okay, chest out, And even I saw the quote, I saw Romeo speaking on All Juvecast. Shout out to them. They had Romeo on. And I think Alberto asked him something about the situation. And Romeo said, yeah, but Alcan said it's an injustice. And that's already a big thing. And I was like, I don't feel it. Like, that he says that it's injustice. What does he need to say? No shots, but like, does he need to say this is justice? I don't know. He's probably going to say that, but the things the club are leaking, or the way they're presenting themselves, it doesn't feel like a strong position. It absolutely doesn't, in my opinion. And I'm actually very fearful for what is coming. But let's see on Monday. I'm going to wrap this video up, because it's been a very long match reaction. And it's a very painful situation. But at the same time, it's also, I'm not even as pissed anymore than I was when we were losing games, when we were actually winning stuff. Because this is just like, it means nothing anymore. Like, it's done. Like Julian said, like, the season is wrapped up already. It's completely done. It's pointless. We're playing for absolutely nothing. Then he was asked, is a Coppa Italia and Europa League a priority? He says no. Like, all the games are. Like, bullshit answers. They obviously are. Like, obviously they are the priority at this moment in time. But whatever. Thanks, Ari, for watching or listening to me moaning. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments what you think. And join us tomorrow, because tomorrow we will probably have some big news in terms of why 15 points and all that stuff. But yeah, we will see you back tomorrow.